Hi, my name is Eric Norman. This is my vlog all about journaling my progress through creating PurelyFunctional.tv. PurelyFunctional.tv is a comprehensive Clojure training site. All sorts of material for learning Clojure, the programming language. And I just like to talk about what I'm up to, what I'm thinking about, what I'm deciding. Okay, yesterday, so I have an assistant, and I usually send him some videos. I'll record my screen, and I'll talk about a task I want him to do, and I'll demonstrate it. And then he'll go through and do it. Maybe he has to do it 100 times, and I just show him how to do it once, and then he does it 100 times. And so I've been sending him tasks, but apparently the videos don't have audio. I changed the tool that I use to record the videos, and so now they don't have audio. That's a problem. So I'm going to have to re-record them. And he says all the ones since February 26th, and today is March 6th, so about 2 weeks worth. So I'm going to have to redo those, which kind of sucks. I don't even remember which ones they are, That's the whole point, is I get it out of my head and put it on his plate. But that brings up another point, which is that I want to train him to be a little bit more organized. I noticed that I will ask him to do 3 things, and 2 of them will get done. For a while I was taking it upon myself and saying, I should have split it up into 3 different tasks, or I should have been super clear about every point, but no, he needs to step up. And I'm realizing this now, probably because of I'm just growing as a leader of this company and having someone work under me. But also because now I feel like I have more of a purpose for what the direction I want to move in, and that is definitely part of the direction that I want to be doing less of. Well, I want to be doing more content creation and less of the sort of, let me organize this whole work for you and then you just do it kind of thing, because that takes a lot of work too. Sometimes it's still necessary. Like if I have a one-off task, I'm not going to ask him to figure out how to do it. I know exactly how it needs to be done. I just need to tell him. But there are things that are going to be ongoing, and I want him to figure them out, and I want him to do it, and I'll look at it and tell him, no, you need to do it a different way. And that really sucks as as an employee, that's the way it happens sometimes. Like, well, why didn't you tell me the first time how you wanted it? So I don't know, right? So anyway, we all deal with that as the underlings at a company. So this redoing these video tasks, once I figure out why the audio wasn't working, redoing them will give me an opportunity to really say, hey, look, there's a lot of information in these videos, which is why I do them, and I don't write everything out. And get some paper and a pen and write it down, because I'm not going to be organizing it for you. One of the things I'm getting him to do is turn my other YouTube channel into a podcast, and I've got 2 recordings up on that channel. I'm trying to do one every day, about a half hour, and if I do enough of those half-hour recordings, I'll get up to 10 to 15 hours of me talking about the topic. And actually, as we speak, I don't know if I will be able to have that much. I feel like I've talked an hour and there's not that much more to say. I mean, I have plenty more to say, but like if I said, well, I'm this far down on my outline already, I would not say that there's 15 hours worth. Which is it's something I'll have to deal with when I get there. For those of you who don't know, I'm writing a book, and my big idea is to write it by talking and then have it transcribed, and then I can edit those transcriptions. It's always easier to edit. Sorry, there's a light right behind me. I'm going to go turn that off. It's always easier to edit than to write it the first time, especially since I do a lot of typing already in my job. And so, yeah, I'll be able to avoid all that other typing. There's a certain, typing is work, and talking is not. We're social animals. We can talk all day. And so somehow, even when I'm tired and I've been working all day and typing all day and creating stuff all day, at the end of the day, I can still talk. Maybe it's because I haven't been moving my mouth all day. I've asked him to go through all the old tweets. This is my assistant. Go through all my old tweets. And this is going to be a theme now, is like pushing more and more to him. And I was even thinking like he might not be able to handle it. Just honest assessment. It might be too much for him. He's working full time, but it just might be too much. A lot of this stuff I'm good at because I've been doing a long time and I'm fast. And so when I do it, it's... anyway, I might have to find someone else too. That's what I'm saying. I have someone in mind, but I don't think I can afford her. She's too valuable, and she would want something where she would get like insurance and benefits and all that stuff that I'm just not hardly paying myself any of that stuff. So I don't think I could afford her. Well, maybe I should have a conversation with her. Okay, I'm gonna mark that down. I'm a mess right now. This whole place is it's just a mess. I should have a pen up here ready to go. Cross these out. Okay. Yeah. So yesterday I got I got 3 videos done, and they are sitting here in my Dropbox, and they're okay. The audio is intelligible. I've sent one off to be transcribed. I was going to have my assistant do the other 2, but of course the audio it didn't work, so I'll have to do that again. But yeah, they look good, and they'll be up soon. I'll have my assistant make pages for them on the closuresync.com. Or the pages are already there. I'm going to reuse the page that I used to announce the speaker. That seems to make sense to me. It's like it's the same place, it's the same information, but now here's the actual talk. Oh, yes. Okay, so I'm going to make a note of that because I want to come back to that. The reason I'm inside today is because it's not a nice day. It's raining, and it's been so nice. That's why I've been outside. But I'm making a note right now, which, being inside has its benefits. I'll make a note of that. Okay, so the talks... I forgot. Oh yeah, my assistant also. He's pretty good at that this kind of like quick design thing. I'm having him make the Twitter, I mean not the Twitter, the YouTube title cards, and I have pictures for that. I had a volunteer do the photography, and she's coming back to me with all of that now. Well, she's slowly coming back to me, which is okay. You know, I didn't pay her, so it's understandable that it's not going to be everything all at once. But I have a bunch of the pictures already, and they look really great. And so I'm putting those in there to be part of the title cards. And I'm also bundling these things up so that I can give them to the speakers. And I'll give them a Dropbox link and let them download them. Maybe that's not the best thing. Maybe it shouldn't be a Dropbox link. Maybe it should be a zip file on S3 that I can then take down. The thing about Dropbox is someone's like, oh, I'll just put this in my Dropbox, and then like you have to host it forever. I think. I mean, it seems weird. I just want it out of my hands. The S3, it's very cheap. I can pay for it forever. I'll figure that out. I haven't done a big delivery yet. Right, so I was dealing yesterday with the code of conduct violation that I was made aware of in one of the surveys. I went through and I double-checked other survey responses, and someone else had mentioned the code of conduct in regards to the same talk. So I emailed both of those people. They both gave their email addresses. And the one who just mentioned the code of conduct, you know, he was definitely not saying this is a clear violation of the code of conduct, you know. But he was just saying it seemed kind of weird with the code of conduct that you mentioned that this happened. But anyway, it was enough for me to respond, especially since it was a second. There were two. And he said, well, he wasn't really interested in any kind of justice. You know, he wasn't personally offended. He just thought it was kind of weird, and he wouldn't want any like punishment to happen. So, you know, he was being forgiving, and, you know, if he wasn't offended, he was just worried in theory, then okay, fine. But the other person was still worried, and has a very long response to my response, and I need to address it. So he had a few points that, you know, in the survey, I think he was being a little bit strongly worded, like kind of aggressive. And in this, it's much more like, well, here's my actual, you know, complaint. And it's a lot more reasoned and less emotional. And it's something that I feel like I could really bring up to the speaker as a, you know, just so you know, there were people who were offended, or there was at least one person who was offended, and here's specifically why. And I still have to review her talk just to have more information, just to refresh my memory and like really scan it for any kinds of violations that you know. It's not fair to go to her and say, hey, there's a violation. She's like, well, can you tell me more about it? And then I'm like, oh, well, I haven't listened to your talk. It's not a good way to do it. So I need to be up on that. Yep. So I want to do a few more of the videos today. It's really hard working with this because it's like each one is about 10 gigs of video, and it just really slows down every click. Sometimes sometimes a click can take 30 seconds to respond. And I'm still trying to figure out a way to make it work right so that it doesn't take so long. Then, of course, the rendering takes time. So I'm also nearly out of hard drive space, and this is really making me want to buy a new computer. This one is kind of old. I think it has 8 gigs of RAM, maybe 16. No, probably not. But, I'm getting to the point where, like, at some point, the clock is going to tick, and I'm going to need one. And, yeah, I should probably wait until after I move, because I might be moving. There's the thing. Then I can worry about that. But, it's I use it all day. So, in terms of productivity, I feel like having just a beefier desktop machine would, and I can still use this as my laptop when I travel, but having a desktop machine that is like a dedicated, that is maxed out on RAM, because that's what I need for video editing, with a big screen. I have a big screen, but it needs a big screen. So I'm thinking Mac Pro. That's what I'm thinking. Max out the RAM on the Mac Pro. Probably a few $1,000 investment, 5,000 maybe. It's a lot of money, but it's the cost of business nowadays. Other options would be a Windows machine, which I do not want to deal with. So it's got to be that. With Linux, you can't do video. There's no good video stuff. Now, it would be cool if I figured out a way to do the video, but that's a different story. I'll tell that story another day, where I was trying to make a composable video editor. Because video editing, the way I was doing it, the way I still do it, is a lot of mousing, a lot of clicking, and there should be a way to just describe the video. Like, here, put the intro here, and then there's 3 segments, and put a 1 second fade out transition between each one, and then here's the ending, and just put it together, and here's the audio, and put that on top. Like, it seems like you should be able to just simply describe what you want. And I actually had something that was working pretty well for doing that. But I also realized that there were just a bunch of features that I wanted, and I was going to have to write them myself. And with, the clicking way of doing it, I could always do whatever I wanted. I had unlimited freedom. The problem is, sometimes you don't want the freedom. You want it to just work the right way. Anyway, I'll tell that story another day. It's actually a cool system. I really enjoyed writing that. I learned a lot. What else? I did not get to work on my closure collections course yesterday. I just didn't get to it with all the video stuff that I was working on. So I'm going to be working on these videos. I have 3 videos I recorded on DSLs that I need to publish as well. I also, here's the thing. I've got a pipeline where I render the videos, upload them, they get automatically put onto my site. I get the 3 different resolutions of my videos, the HD, that's high def, medium def, and then low def for phones. All of that gets done automatically. I could even, and I wrote this system, so I could even add stuff like doing a transcript and things like that. But it's slow, and it's kind of buggy. And so I think and it's all written in Clojure, so I've been thinking about making a video where I move some of the functionality into Amazon Lambda, AWS Lambda. I think that would be a cool experiment to see if I could do something like that. Yeah, and just record it and say, look, this is a 1 hour project. I'm trying to write this one little service at a time, because some services are perfect for doing in the cloud, because they're just this very specific little task that I need done. And the task I'm thinking of. So right now, what I do, I have a server. It actually runs on the same server as my site, which is also a bad idea. But I'm running a Clojure program. It fetches, it detects that there's a new video on the video hosting service, and that it's been transcribed, and that those videos are not already uploaded to S3. So it will stream the video, stream the data, the bytes from the video, and then send them to S3. So the data is coming down to my server and then up to S3, right, to the network that Amazon has. And that's kind of slow. I mean, it's faster than doing it on my local machine, because it's also a server that's in the cloud, but it's a different cloud. It's not AWS. So it is like a lot of network traffic, and it can fail, but it works, it's fine. But I'm thinking that kind of service would be perfect for Lambda, because what would happen is the Lambda would stream the bytes, and then now they're in Amazon's network, so the writing to S3 would be very fast. I know in Lambda you pay also by the bandwidth that goes through it, but it's just a one-time thing. It's the cost of getting it into the AWS network, right? I feel like that's just the way AWS works in general. Once it's in the network, it's free, but getting into the network, you have to pay for it. And so to me, that's a really cool service, because here's the thing. The destination being S3 could be, that's a configuration parameter, like what's the key, what's the bucket, that kind of thing. But where do you fetch the data from can be totally described by data. And in fact, that's already been done with CLJ HTTP, meaning the request, a GET request, is already described in data. So this service can be totally generic. It can be fetched from HTTP and delivered to S3. And that way I can just call that as an API, and it'll do the transfer. And I could do it in parallel. It's one of the things that takes the longest time, is downloading all these bytes. And then there's another service that I do. It's another thing I do, which this could be part of. This AWS Lambda could be another AWS Lambda service. Sorry, this is like technical details. I think it'd be another, the reason I'm even thinking about doing this, several reasons. It's going to kill many birds with one stone. One, it's in Clojure, and it's Lambda, so it's kind of a hot topic, and people will want to see how it's done. Okay, and there's several interesting things that I can talk about that make it interesting to do this in Clojure, right? Like I said, the CLJ HTTP already describes stuff in data, so you just pass the data as part of the API, so it becomes a generic thing, like right off the bat, with no work. Okay, but the other thing is, I want to learn Lambda. I think it's a cool technology, and I want to be able to use it more. So, but then also, this will really speed up my workflow, especially if I'm trying to get more into content creation. Having a way to get the videos moving faster is, and more reliably, is a big deal. Okay, here's the other thing, the other service. So I put all this stuff on S3, and then I want to make a download, a single download, a big zip of all of the videos and some other stuff too. But let's just say all the videos for now. So I have to download all of the videos. So the way I do it now is that same program that's running it copied to S3 now downloads. See, it can't, there's too much data to do one at a time and like download the data and like then upload, download, then upload, download, then upload. It has to stream it. It's just too much to save it all to disk. I've run out of disk space before on my bigger courses because they just have to, it's too much. It's like 80 gigs or something, and you just run out of hard drive space, or you forgot to delete it from the last time you ran it, and it's just whatever. Okay, but what I do, and it still works, but what I do is I download all of the videos for a certain resolution for that course. So let's say the course has 10 lessons, I download the 10 MP4s of HD into a directory, a temp directory, zip up that temp directory, and then upload the zip and then delete the files, right? And because I'm on my own server, I run the zip command, just using, the command line. And because that's like the fastest way to do it, just running zip. And it's nice because I can use the hard drive and just like arrange stuff in where I want it to be, run zip, upload it. Because there are a few more files I put in there. Like I put all the code from GitHub in there, right? So I can just CD into that directory, download all the code from GitHub, put it right in there. Clone it, I don't know what I do. I don't remember anymore. But then it gets zipped up in there, and says when someone downloads it, they have everything. Right, so I could make a service that does this zipping. And what it would do is it would download, stream stuff from S3, and then using a zip writer, I think is what it's called, or a zip output stream, stream it right back up to S3. Right, so it never leaves the network, it never hits the disk, it just writes straight from S3, pipes it into an output stream that puts it right back onto S3. And as a Lambda, it's a very distinct service, and it's totally scalable because S3 is scalable. Since it's mostly pulling from S3, it'll be really, really fast. The other thing is I might have to put in other stuff like some directives for downloading from GitHub and stuff like that, and putting that right in there too. But all of that is totally doable, and it's another cool project to say, look, here's a service that I can make that does just this one little unit of work, and it will speed up everything else, because I can still have the one server, the one program running on my server that coordinates it all, that sees what's on Wistia and what videos are available and what's been already uploaded and all that, and determine what needs to be done. But then it just hits all these APIs in the cloud, files transfer over, and everything gets done. So that's my big idea. I think it would be a triple win for me, because I get to learn Lambda, I get to speed up my workflow. So speeding up my workflow helps everybody, all my customers, everything. And it gets to teach people about Lambda and some other cool things, that why functional programming and the way we do stuff in Clojure is actually really conducive to using lambdas. Okay, this has been 30 minutes, so I think that's enough. Always more to talk about. Always more. All right. Subscribe, mash the buttons, hit everything. The thumbs up is also cool. And I will see you later.